Hi everyone, it's Miss Park here. I hope everyone's doing well. So I have prepared a summary lesson on the rate of reaction section of the external. Oh, where is it? Okay, so far we have covered the collision theory, which is the lesson I covered in class. And then we moved on to the factors affecting the rate of reaction, which are concentration, temperature, surface area, and the catalyst. So this slide just covers, how we can increase the frequency of successful collisions. And I said here, the first thing is you can increase the frequency of collisions, or that the particles can collide with enough kinetic energy to overcome the activation energy. And I wanted to just emphasize that you shouldn't, please don't write there are more collisions or there are increased number of collisions. And that's because frequency means number of collisions per second or number of collisions in a given time. So if you don't like to use the word frequency, stick with this, number of collisions per second or number of collisions in a given time. So the rate of reaction factors, the temperature, surface area, concentration, the catalyst, they're going to affect either 0.1 or 0.2 or both. For example, temperature is the only factor that will affect both of these, whereas surface area, concentration, and catalyst will only affect one of these. So I've made a summary slide on how the temperature, concentration, catalyst, and the surface area can affect the rate of reaction. And I've focused on how we can increase the rate of reaction. So here we have the temperature, the concentration, the surface area, and the catalyst. So you can have a look at it. So everything, all the points that I have in the box are the key points that you should write in your answer if you want to get an excellence, all those points. And for the catalyst, I just wanted to highlight, a catalyst provides an alternative pathway with lower activation energy, and it doesn't react with other particles, which is why after, you add a catalyst at the start of the reaction, you can always, retrieve it at the end. And please don't write that catalyst lowers the activation energy of the reaction. It doesn't. It just provides another pathway with a lower activation energy. And we can see that in this graph, right? This one is the activation energy without the catalyst, and this is the new, alternative pathway that the catalyst provided. And this pathway has a lower activation energy. And the reason why I, added this graph is because when I was, checking the previous exams, some of the questions that, dealt with catalyst, they asked the students to actually draw the graph and refer that to in their answer. So I think it would be a good idea to actually learn how to draw this graph and actually understand what's going on. So this is the summary, and I hope this is helpful for your revision. This slide is how you might want to structure your answer. So back in the days when I was studying for this external, this is the structure of this is the structure I would follow to answer my question. And to highlight, in all the rate of reaction questions, they will ask you to refer to collision theory, and depending on the factor, for example, temperature and the catalyst, they will also ask you to refer to the activation energy in your answer. So in my answer, I would always start talking about the collision theory, and highlighting what successful collision means. And that's because, I don't know, for me it just made sense that I explain what a successful collision is if I was going to, write about it in my answer. So that's why. But, this does take up a bit of space. And if you don't want to write about it, then you don't have to. It's optional. But this is how I wrote my answer. And then, you would move on to writing about the factor and how that affects the rate of reaction. So you can always go back to my summary page. So if a question was asking, how does increasing the surface area affect the rate of reaction, then I would write increasing the surface area, and let's actually go back to the summary page. So at the bottom we have increasing the surface area of reactant particles means that more reactant particles are exposed for collision, especially at the start. This results in increased frequency of collisions, which results in increased frequency of successful collisions. Overall, there is increased rate of reaction, which is why we observe shorter reaction time. So that's how I would write or structure my answer for a rate of reaction question. So you can, I guess, if you find this helpful, you can use this structure for your answer. And I've picked a question from 2019. I think this is question 1B. And yeah, I've just, highlighted the bits that you should really focus on. So, always read the question carefully. Try to figure out which factor they're addressing. You can always eliminate, so you can always write down the 4 factors on the page and then, eliminate as you read the question. And also if they give you a graph, just try to figure out what's going on. Always check the axes and what the graph is representing. So yeah, so you can have a go at this first. And I actually give you an example of how I would answer it. So the first one, that's the first question, and here's my answer. And this is the second question, and this is how I would answer it. And remember, this top bit about the collision theory, that's just optional. So I have collated practice questions. I think it was from 2012. Yeah, and it goes all the way to 2019. So there are heaps for you to practice on. And you can check your answers if you go to this website. That's the NZQA website. And if you look at the assessment schedules, they will have a model answer. And you can also, check if your answer is at an achieved, merit, or an excellence level. So that should be very, very helpful. So yeah, so here are all the questions that you can practice. Look at those. Yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me on Google Classroom, and I think I will. Or you can ask Miss Pullham, and I'll leave my email, Meg's email, on Google Classroom as well. So yeah, thank you, and I hope you guys have fun revising, and yeah, take care.